Hi, my name is Eliza Santos, and today I will be providing an overview of CDFA's commercial cannabis cultivation licensing process. Next. Currently, we have over 5,000 approved applications. Here you will see a list of the top 10 counties and the number of licenses issued to each. Next. Of these licenses, about 29% are designated as medicinal, while 71% are designated as adult use. Next slide, please. On this slide, you will see a breakdown of these licenses issued by size. Yellow representing the majority of the licenses issued as small, which is about 64%. Next. Here you will see a chart illustrating the type of licenses issued. Mixed Light Tier 1 has the highest percentage at 37%. This is a license type which includes light deprivation. Next. This is a map of California showing annual licenses issued as purple and provisional licenses issued as blue. Next. As for our division structure, CalCannabis cultivation licensing is made up of the licensing branch, the compliance and enforcement branch, and the administrative branch. Next. This diagram shows the annual license application review process. First, the applicant must submit an application with our department and pay for the application fee. Once we receive the application, it goes through local verification. This is where an email is sent to the local authority to determine local compliance. When the local verification is complete, the application goes through administrative review. This is followed by scientific review, and when an application is approved, a notification will be sent out to the applicant to pay their license fee. The license fee must be paid in order to issue your license. Next. Local verification consists of address validation to confirm physical addresses using mapping software. It also deals with the transmission of compliance inquiries, where the local jurisdiction will have either 10 or 60 days to respond regarding the applicant's local compliance. The compliance responses are analyzed and will determine the next step of processing. If we receive a response of incompliance, or if the local jurisdiction does not provide a response within that time frame, the application moves on to admin review. If we receive a response of non-compliance, then the review is stopped at that point and the application may be recommended for denial. Next. Here we move on to administrative review. We look over the business entity structure information provided in the application, such as business formation documents. We also look at right to occupy documentation, which includes titles, deeds, and lease agreements. Owner applications are also reviewed as part of the admin portion, which includes things such as criminal history and conviction disclosures. During this review of the application, there may be some deficiencies, and if there are any, you will have 90 days to supply all missing information. Next. Following the admin review, we have the scientific review. Here we look at CEQA compliance and cultivation plans. We also review information relating to the enrollment in the State Water Quality Protection Program, LSA agreements, and water source information. All documentation submitted relating to CEQA compliance and LSA agreements are used to decide whether or not that license will be a provisional cannabis license. During the scientific review, you will have another 90 days to resolve all deficiencies that have been identified. Next. Once the application is approved, the applicant will have 90 days to pay their license fee and receive a cannabis cultivation license. If the license fee is not paid by that deadline, then the application will be disqualified. Those who have not paid their license fees cannot legally cultivate or engage in transfer of product. Next. Let's briefly talk about CEQA. CEQA stands for the California Environmental Quality Act. CalCannabis works with the local jurisdictions to determine CEQA compliance. The local jurisdiction may opt for a statutory exemption for their local ordinance. Full discretionary reviews include categorical exemptions, tiering checklists, and others. Ministerial exemptions alone are not enough for us to issue state licenses. Next. Now let's get a little more into provisional licenses. These require all the same components as the annual cultivation license. Again, CEQA information provided in the application is used to determine whether or not the license is to be provisional. But for provisional licenses, you must be able to show that CEQA compliance is underway. Local verification is done to ensure you are engaged in the process. I'd like to also note that there is only one application for a commercial cannabis cultivation license. Annual and provisional licenses use that same application. CDFA will be the ones to determine if the applicant will receive a license that is provisional or annual based on their review. Next. So what happens if you need to make any changes to your license after it has already been issued? That's where amendments come in. First, let's talk about administrative amendments. To request an admin amendment, the DRP will need to send an email to the email listed on this slide. In the email, please include the license number you wish to amend, any supporting documentation for the desired amendments, and what information is specifically being amended. These emails should only contain amendment requests. So if you have any other questions, please send an email to our other inbox at calcannabis@cdfa.ca.gov. Next. Science amendments are a little different. You can submit science amendments directly through our licensing portal. This includes any physical modifications to the licensed premises, requests to transition from a provisional license to an annual license, and provisional license renewal reviews. When logged into the licensing portal, please locate the license you wish to make changes to and click on the link that says amendment. This screenshot is an example of what you would see. When transitioning a provisional to an annual license, next slide, the expiration date of the existing license does not change. Transitions can be done at any time, and the licensee must meet all regulatory requirements, which include CEQA and LSA information. And the request to transition must be submitted through a science amendment. Next. When it comes time to renew your license, if you go into the licensing portal and navigate to your list of licenses, you will notice a link that says Renew License. You can renew your license starting 60 days prior to your expiration date, and this button should activate at that point. License renewals are automated in the system. You will need to follow all prompts and pay all necessary fees, and the system should issue your license. Next. When renewing your provisional license, you are also required to submit a science amendment. You will need to provide proof that you are making progress on any outstanding deficiencies and other agency permitting requirements. If all information is not submitted, then these licenses may be subject to a licensing action. Next. For provisional license renewals, please make sure to submit a science amendment prior to your renewal application. All license fees are due at the time the licenses are renewed for both annual and provisional renewals. Next. Now let's talk about track and trace. CCTT stands for California Cannabis Track and Trace. Licensed cultivators are required to report the disposition of immature and mature plants, non-manufactured products, transfers, and waste. UIDs are required for tracking and tracing plants and packages, and these UIDs are provided at no cost to the licensee. Next. Licensees with an annual or provisional license are required to use the CCTT system and must complete the required training prior to gaining access to their system. Next. All activities such as waste produced, plants harvested, and packages created must be reported in metric within 3 calendar days. CDFA's Compliance and Enforcement Branch is revoking licenses for cultivators who are delinquent in completing their CCTT requirements. Next. Compliance ensures licensees are compliant with regulations and cultivation plans. Contracts with county agricultural commissioners are used, multiple inspections are conducted per year, notices of noncompliance and notices of violations are utilized, and there is a possibility of license revocations. Next. Enforcement focuses on unlicensed cultivation sites. They take action based on recommendations from local law enforcement and permitting agencies. Next. And that concludes my portion of this presentation. This slide right here includes all contact information you may need, so feel free to call, email, and follow us on social media. Thank you.